Well, good morning, Jagender Rana here. The topic for our discussion today is risk based capital in insurance. Risk based capital in insurance. Strong solvency of insurance companies is important for both the regulator and the policyholders. So financially strong insurance industry not only helps in increasing insurance penetration and economic growth, but it also helps in building the trust of the people on the social security fiber of the country. So regulators over the time have made changes in the regulations to make insurance industry financially strong. The recent regulatory changes across the globe have led to determining solvency capital as a function of risk that insurance companies face rather than a simple formula. So, how risk diversification and risk management helps in optimizing this solvency capital, that has to be understood. Because how the solvency position of the insurance companies is assessed, every insurance company keeps reserves to meet the future liabilities that will arise in the form of death, maturity, or surrenders. And this is because annual level premium charge is not commensurate with incidences of expenses and claim arising. Now the reserves are kept based on prudential regulatory norms. Our regulators also prescribe additional money that the insurance company must keep aside in a form of solvency capital to meet the contingency. So the history of keeping solvency capital goes back to 1973, when non-life insurance companies were asked to keep the solvency capital, and later the same was applied to life insurance companies in 1979 in European Union. So the methodology of keeping the solvency capital was modified for life and non-life companies in the mid-1990s. Over the years, similar methodology is used in many jurisdictions, including India. So, however, during the economically turbulent times, the methodology used to identify such solvency capital has found to be inadequate, exposing the limitations of this method, leading to insolvency of insurance companies. Now, this is because the methodology used for such solvency capital calculation is based on a simple formula as a factor of reserve and factor of the sum at risk. This method does not directly consider how much risk an insurance company is taking. For example, two life insurance companies of similar size and shape will keep similar solvency capital, even if one of them is managing their risk better. However, in reality, those companies that manage their risk better have lesser chances of falling compared to the one where risks are not properly managed. Therefore, the companies that manage their risk better should ideally hold lesser solvency capital compared to the one where risks are not well managed. But the formula does not allow such benefits to the insurer. This solvency capital directly comes from the shareholders to shareholders via the cost of locking this money, which otherwise could have earned higher return. Therefore, shareholders would like to lock lesser solvency capital, while regulator would like to have strong solvency position, that is higher solvency capital. So this is a dichotomy between the shareholders and regulators. Now, to address this twin problem, many jurisdictions such as US, Canada, EU, many of the Asian economies such as Singapore, China, Philippines, Sri Lanka have moved to the solvency capital regime, where the capital will be allocated based on how much risk an insurance company undertake. So in EU, this is called solvency second regime, while in other jurisdictions, this is called risk-based capital, or in short, RBC. So some jurisdictions in Asia are moving to the second phase of RBC, which they call RBC2, such as in Singapore and Philippines. So India, on the other hand, is currently following the traditional approach of allocating the solvency capital, which is based on the formula approach. However, the regulator has taken some steps in this direction, such as bringing risk management, the disclosure of financials on their website, corporate governance, etc., which is part of the RBC regime. Now the question is, what is risk-based capital? Because risk-based capital is calculated based on how much risk is taken by the insurance companies, as opposed to using a standard formula. So the higher risk would require higher capital requirement, and the vice versa. One of the benefits of using risk-based capital is, as risks are correlated, the benefit of risk correlation is passed to the insurance companies. Further, as the risk capital is based on how much risk an insurance company takes, so better risk management also optimizes the capital. Now the risk used on a broad term in a life insurance company to quantify the risk capital broadly fall into insurance risk, that is financial risk, operational risk, credit risk, etc. So the components of insurance and financial risk are insurance risk, mortality risk, lapse risk, expense risk, financial risk, interest rate risk, equity risk, foreign exchange risk, spread risk. Risk capital calculation methodology is based on statistical distribution uses the measures of value at risk defined as the maximum loss that an insurance company can suffer in a given time frame and within a certain confidence level. Now there are two methods of calculating the risk-based capital. One is an internal model approach, where value at risk is 99.5th percentile value of loss due to each risk, and second is stress testing, or which is based on the value of assets and liabilities. So once calculated on base assumption and again calculated on stressed assumption, the difference between the two is the risk-based capital for a particular risk. The stressed assumption is equivalent to 99.5% confidence level for each risk, or at any other desired level of confidence. For example, if 7% interest rate is a base assumption, and as an example 5% down stressed assumption at 99.5% confidence level, then the risk-based capital will be calculated as the difference between the value of assets and liabilities calculated at 7% and 5%. Now coming to the risk diversification. The total risk capital is not just the sum of all the individual risk capital, because many of the risks are correlated. For example, interest rate risk and lapse risk are correlated. Lapse risk and mortality risk are correlated. Longevity risk and mortality risk are correlated. The benefit of these correlations reduces the risk from the sum of all risk capitals.